Hey guys, and welcome back to Solo the Nightfall for week 29, where we return to the Summoning Pits. It's been a couple of months since we've been back to the Summoning Pits, so hopefully this video will be a good refresher. The modifiers are Angry, Light Switch, and Arc Burn, which is going to make the first half of this place much harder than the second half. My loadout for the first half of the strike is Gheleon's Demise, Murmur, and Thunderlord, although Deviant Gravity-A does basically equal damage to Thunderlord if you have one of those in arc damage form. Coming into the first room, this is not a darkness zone, so you can die here without worry. Near the entrance is a non-major melee knight. This guy goes down pretty quick with a blast from Murmur. There will be a major boomer and a major wizard that will make this room an absolute nightmare, but just work on plowing your way through everything to get to the first main encounter. Once you're in the area of the 3 waves of enemies, you're going to want to activate the event and then back up to the doorway. The first wave consists of a bunch of Thrall, followed by a bunch of Hallowed Thrall, Exploding Thrall, followed by 4 boomers, 2 of them being major. The Thrall will one-shot you with their melee, and the Thrall explosion will kill you from very far away, so just keep your distance. Try to chain all of the exploders so that when you kill one, they all explode in a chain reaction. As for the boomers, make sure they drop down first. They're going to be dropping down from the left. If you don't have an arc damage grenade, you may want to consider an arc rocket launcher and trying to take them out all at once. Otherwise, just blast down the 2 non-majors very quickly, then kite backwards to take out the majors. The next wave will start when you only have 1 enemy remaining, likely to be a boomer, so make it quick. Wave 2 will drop a ton of acolytes down into the middle area, a mix of major and non-major. Let them all jump down and gather before using any supers or heavy ammo. Once again, rockets work pretty well here when they're all bunched up. After you kill a bunch of acolytes, you're going to have 3 melee knights spawn, one of them being major, and 2 wizards, one of those being major. Take your time taking these out. The knights won't charge at you unless you get really close to them or if they're one of the last enemies remaining in the area. The third wave will start when there's only 1 enemy remaining, so make sure you leave an easy target as your last, preferably a non-major melee knight. Wave 3 is just an assortment of everything. Melee knights, thralls, cursed thralls. Back up and kill things slowly. One big target is the major boomer knight who kind of stays up on the 2nd floor, but sometimes will jump down to the 1st floor. If he jumps down, be sure to burst it down very quickly before the wizards come, which will come after you kill a small amount of enemies. The wizards are going to be the hardest thing here, and they're going to be the thing that kills you most of the time. Between wave 2 and 3 activating, I switch my Murmur from arc damage to solar damage, because even with 300% arc damage, solar damage seems to be way more reliable in burning off those wizard shields. What you're going to want to do is kite all the way back to the previous room up the hallway and hold them in the doorway. The real ideal scenario is to be able to peel them one by one, but in this clip I will show the most extreme example, all 4 wizards at once. You're going to be doing a lot of jumping back and forth over the doorway so you're not quickly bursted, and you're going to have to play this very, very patiently. When you're able to rip off a shield of a wizard, most of the time they're going to back off. You just need to find a time where you're able to switch to your arc heavy weapon and blast it down. Don't rush this if it gets this bad. Once again, the ideal is to peel them one by starting in the original room, having all of them start to shoot you, then you slowly back up into the hallway and hopefully drag them in one by one. This doesn't always work though, so be ready. I'm going to play this entire clip to show how you can handle this. I also don't use my super or my flashbang grenade to show that you don't need a stun or a big burst of damage to get this to work. When all of that is over, check the room for any remaining enemies. Don't take them lightly, they still will absolutely crush you if you're not careful. Move on when everything in the room is dead. At this point, I switch to an arc sniper and continue to use an arc heavy machine gun. The room with the Ogre isn't a big deal, there will be some Thrall waiting for you, a couple of Cursed Thrall, an Ogre, and a Major Boomer Knight. Just take out both the Ogre and the Major with some snipes. After that room, I just make a mad dash to Phogoth's room, ignoring literally everything. The two Boomer Knights near his room typically have a delayed reaction to you, so most of the time you should be able to just run and jump past them. Do so at your own risk. Coming into Phogoth's room, you'll have a lot to do in here. Try to take out all of the Thrall jumping on the platforms. You don't want them taking you by surprise. There will be a non-major knight to your right on the upper platform, and then even farther right on the highest platform. Take those guys out with snipes. The big thing to deal with here are the three major Boomer Knights. Sometimes they'll stay down low, which is good because then you can just snipe them, but then sometimes they come up top and things get a little more difficult. Try to lure them into the doorway and do your best to take them out. Patrol the entire room before starting Phogoth. There's likely to be two Boomer Acolytes on the uppermost platform on the right side of the room. Phogoth itself is a pretty easy fight, all things considered. When you first unleash him, take care of all the Acolytes that spawn so that they don't interrupt you. Otherwise, just keep as much damage on him as possible. Be sure to listen for the dropship. It'll drop off 3 Thrall and a non-major melee knight. All of that is taken out very easily, but if you don't watch for it, it will absolutely kill you. When you bring Phogoth a bit lower in health, you'll have another wave of enemies spawn. This will consist of a variety of knights and acolytes, but none of these enemies use the boomer weapon or a sword, so they're not a huge threat. You want to keep these guys alive, only killing them when absolutely necessary, as I'm about 99% positive that the next wave of enemies that normally spawns won't spawn if you have a lot of the previous wave of enemies still alive. At least it worked for me in this run and in runs in the past. None of them use arc weapons, so they don't hurt, and most of the time they're not going to walk up to you, but if you see anything get close, absolutely get rid of it quickly so that they don't melee you. Beyond that, just keep up your heavy machine gun usage and he should go down pretty easily. The I-beam still hurts, but it's very survivable. I had to use a heavy ammo pack to bring him down, so you should bring some just in case. You can also switch back to a fusion rifle like Murmur if you want for some great damage, as sniping the crit spot can be difficult when he's I-beaming you. A full blast from Murmur does about 80% of the damage of a crit from a sniper, and 200% damage versus non-crit, so it should provide a little more damage on average. All things considered, this should be the easiest fight in the Nightfall. Once you get past the quad spawn of wizards, summoning pits gets pretty easy pretty quickly, and Phogoth is not hard at all. That is going to do it for me though. Thank you very much for watching, good luck, and I will see you next time.